well?
They should do if they part of the course networking site. So if anybody's not part of the course networking site, then just let one of us know, myself or Roz or Stefan, who's here as well. And then we'll make sure that we have you registered. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, because I wanted to mention that last year, our executive director and director of programs, they both had a session that you can find under 2021. And so basically, that's why I won't be going into a lot of detail on the Earth Charter, because you have those materials available already. And because also that takes up a lot of time. And today we're here to talk about Mapting and how we can use it. So to go back. Okay, let's go back a little more. So yes, so today I'm here to talk about Mapting. So it is a social media app for engaging both the Sustainable Development Goals and the Earth Charter. So, but first I do want to start with a video on the Earth Charter to set the context, tell you a little more about the SDGs and how we relate, because these are all resources that you can use with your students to set the context so they can see why we need an application like Mapting to put things together and to help us with these visuals. So you should be able to see my screen of the video. Please let me know if the sound isn't working.
It's magnificent, an ecosystem of diversity with one shared destiny. But our home is in crisis, and we know we have to act. Yet knowing is not enough. We don't need a new agenda, we need a new mindset. This is Earth Charter, a document with 16 principles turning conscience into action. Our commitment to a just, sustainable, and peaceful world. With these foundations, we can all get to work. To the oceans, the mountains, and the forests. To our homes, our schools, and businesses. Powered by a growing global movement working together to make all life on Earth thrive. Founded by visionaries 20 years ago. We invite the visionaries of today to join us. To show the future that we're never giving up. We know you're ready. Now, let's get to work.
Okay, so as you can see in the video, at Earth Charter, we know that with our friends and partners outside of the Earth Charter movement, we know that we need everyone involved. As our friends at Soka Gakkai International say, which is the organization that we co-created this app with, it starts with one. So it starts with one person. We can't just let our leaders decide what they're gonna do, because if we're in a democracy, we are choosing who is representing everyone, but we're all supposed to be involved as well in the process. So for that, Earth Charter International proposes the use of the Earth Charter document, which has 16 principles, powering a global movement. So it's the people who have been working on it since the 90s, the people who have been working on it since the public launch of the document, who are keeping it alive. So we like to tell people that you can apply it anywhere. You can apply these principles and you can embody these values in your home, in your business, in your community, in your classrooms. So you can begin turning that conscience into action for a thriving Earth, for planetary well-being. So as I mentioned, there are 2 sessions on the Earth Charter from 2021. So I won't go into a lot of detail, but first I wanted to give you an overview, because this will also help you understand the app as well. So the Earth Charter has 16 principles that are divided into 4 different pillars. It also has a really nice, it was written by many people in a participatory process, very diverse. So as the document says, we're harmonizing diversity with unity. And it also has the preamble, which explained the situation of the world over 20 years ago, but it's if you read it, you could, so if you didn't know about it, you could have guessed that it was written yesterday. And it also has the way forward, which we're still striving for. And so the pillars, we have nice illustrations that you can also use if you would like to use the Earth Charter to explain the systemic vision of planetary well-being. So the first one, it's like the roots of a tree where everything is coming out of. It's respect and care for the community of life. Then ecological integrity, those are the principles in Pillar 2, which is what people usually think of when they think of the Earth Charter. It has basic principles such as reducing, reusing, recycling, but also has more complex principles that are used in environmental law that everyone can understand by reading and reflecting on how these interconnect with the other principles, but also with the Sustainable Development Goals. Pillar 3 is on social and economic justice, so same thing as what I mentioned about some more basic principles, but also some more complex ones that can lead to a lot of discussion in your classrooms. And the same with Pillar 4, which is on democracy, nonviolence, and peace, to tie everything together and to talk about those right relationships that we need to have at every level, including with ourselves. And each, as I mentioned, so we have 4 pillars, and then each pillar is divided into 4 principles, and each principle has sub-principles to help you really reflect on those connections and to have those conversations with your students. And thanks to our celebration of the 20 years of the Earth Charter, we have nice illustrations that make it all even more appealing to younger people, to students. So you can see that we have illustrations for each principle, we have illustrations for the pillars, we have illustrations for the Earth Charter in general. So if you would like to email me after the presentation, if you're interested in having access to these illustrations and other resources, I can also send you those. Okay, so once you get to know the Earth Charter, you can, and if your students also know about the Sustainable Development Goals, you can begin to see that connection for why we need ethical values to achieve these goals, because the point of achieving these goals is to not leave anyone behind. But if you don't have this systemic vision and the intrinsic motivation, then you could work towards one goal, but maybe even harm other people in the process or other species in the process. You know, you could be working towards electric cars, but not, or economic development, but not think about the people who are mining for these minerals, or the people or the species that you're leaving without a home because you're cutting down the trees or expanding your crops to end hunger, but you're not thinking about the orangutans that live there, you know, in a specific country. So that's why we like to teach these things together, and that's why the Mapting app brings them together. So if you don't know about the Sustainable Development Goals, or even if you do, I like to share this other video because I think it gets students excited about seeing also how we need everyone involved, not just, we can't just leave it up to the UN agencies or some of the countries who have more money. You know, we need everyone involved. So I want to share this video to help illustrate that, and also to help explain very briefly each of the Sustainable Development Goals.
We can be.
We must be the first generation
to end extreme poverty.
The generation
Most determined
to fight injustice and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done. The global goals.
a 15-year plan
For everyone. Everywhere.
with no one left behind.
We will live in a world
Where nobody
anywhere lives in extreme poverty.
Where no one
goes hungry.
where no one
Wakes in the morning asking if there will be food today.
we will live in a world
Where no child has to die.
Diseases we know how to cure.
And where proper health care
is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world
where everyone goes to school
and education gives us the knowledge
and skills
For a fulfilling life.
We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities to thrive
And be powerful.
and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is handicaped.
we will live in a world
Where all people can get clean water
and proper toilets at home,
At school and at work.
We will live in a world where there's sustainable energy for everyone
heat, light, and power for the whole planet.
without destroying the planet.
We will live in a world where economies prosper and new wealth
Lead to decent jobs
For everyone.
And we will live in a world
where our industry,
Our infrastructure and our
best innovations,
Are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
We will live in a world
where prejudices and extremes of inequality
are defeated.
Inside our countries,
And between different countries.
where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
where we replace
what we consume.
Planet where we put back.
What we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back the threat of climate
change.
where we restore and protect the life in our oceans and seas. We'll restore
And protect
Life on land.
The forests,
animals,
the earth itself.
with peace between and inside countries.
where all governments are open
And answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
and the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries and we their people,
Work together.
partnerships of all kinds,
To make these goals a reality.
These are the United Nations global goals.
for sustainable development.
Let's get to work.
Okay, let me pause the video. And yes, I can share the links. So let's see. I can also send an email.
Amanda,
all the
isn't
links.
on course networking as well?
Not this one. No, I just
Not
added this
one.
one's to the presentation. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Do you mind if I
And-
put you course networking?
Oh, yes, that would be great.
Hmm.
Mhm. If we could add them. Okay, so there's the Earth Charter video and the Global Goals video. So yeah, so we need these two things to get people on board. We need the Earth Charter and we need these goals so the Earth Charter can help us guide our actions so that they can be ethical, so that we can really achieve these goals that countries have agreed upon and people have supported. So as I mentioned, we worked, Earth Charter International worked with Sokakaka International to create this app to make it easier to visualize the actions that people are taking around the world. So for that, we have Mapting. So I have one more video to show you very briefly, and then I will do a presentation that we have ready so that you can get a better idea of how to use Mapting, how to download it, and then we can also have a discussion on how to. Sorry, 1 second, I lost the Zoom. Okay, here we go. And then we can have a discussion on how to use it, hearing from all of you, your ideas. So, oops, 1 second. Okay. Okay, back to my presentation. Yes, so Mapting was created on this belief that individuals have the power to initiate change. We need to raise our voices, and this is helping us see what people are doing, inspire people. We don't have to only post our actions, we can also post actions that we have witnessed when we go on a trip or when we visit other communities, or even in our own community that we want to share with the world. So, and these are aligned to the Earth Charter principles and this ethical framework. So we also have a Mapting blog, which I can share, and that's where we share examples. We also have very exciting contests sometimes so that young people can get involved, and it motivates them a little more. It is a free app. It's free to download. I have some codes in case you have an iPhone, or if you have an Android phone. A Huawei or a Samsung, you can go on the Google Play Store. And so if you would like, you can take a screenshot of this. I can give you a minute to decide if you would like to download it now, or you can download it after the presentation. You can also go to mapting.org. I'll share that link on the chat, and you can also get to the links from there. So if you scroll all the way down on this website, it will take you to where you can download the app. So I wanted to share, we also like to share some of our Mapting favorites because people are posting really cool ideas. I really like to share as well because, well, I'm 30, so I'm not a teenager anymore, obviously, but I do realize that we live in a world where different social media sites have different rules. This is a whole other class that we could take on social media, and I'm not an expert. But on Instagram, young people like to post selfies or like pictures of themselves and their friends. And a lot of times young people don't want to post their activism on social media unless that's all they do, unless they are Greta Thunberg. So I myself don't like to post all of my actions on my personal Instagram or my Facebook. So that's why I really like using Mapting, because I know that people there go to this app to see this kind of post. So for example, well, this is something I could have posted on my personal social media, but I chose to post it on Mapting. If you see on the bottom right corner, at the University for Peace, at the end of the year, we hosted a clothing swap, which was exciting because a lot of my classmates have really nice clothes, and I have some of my clothes that I'm tired of wearing, but we also have that feeling of guilt when we go to the mall and we buy new clothes. So this was a really nice way to feel like we were going shopping, but also to feel like we weren't harming additionally the planet by going and supporting these fast fashion stores even more. So those are the kind of actions that I like to share. And people, you can search by SDGs. So you can search if people are posting about climate action or about ending hunger, or you can search by Earth Charter principle if you get to know the Earth Charter and have a favorite principle or 2 or 3, or you can search by country, or you could search by keyword, which is really useful if you're in a classroom and you give your students an assignment. You can give them a specific hashtag that they can use so that it's easier for you as a teacher to find what your students are posting. So to go into more detail, I have another presentation where we can see how to use Mapting. So it's a quick how to use guide. I can also share this as well if you would like to share it with your students and show them how to use it before asking them to download it or after. So another cool thing about Mapting is that we launched a new version a couple of years ago, and now it's available in more languages. So you can choose if you would like your students to use it in English, in Mandarin, in Japanese, in French, or in Spanish. First, you need to create a username and password, but you can also use these other accounts to log in. So you can use your Google account, Facebook, Twitter, Line, or Apple ID to log in, or you can just use your email and create a new password. So first, the first thing you have to do if you want to post is that you have to choose an SDG. We can't start with the Earth Charter principles. We have to start with the SDGs. So that's why it's important for students to understand the SDGs better. Although this app will help them understand them even more. So for example, my picture about the clothing swap, I probably chose SDG 12, which is on responsible consumption. I also like to post a lot about the farmers markets, so maybe I could choose no hunger or climate action or any of the other SDGs that are related to it. And that's another cool thing, that maybe your students are posting about similar actions, but maybe they'll choose a different SDG. So that's a cool conversation to have as well with your students. So why did you choose that SDG, and what connections do you see between your action and that goal? So you can either take a picture on the spot and post it, or you can post a picture from your gallery. And you can say that you took part in this, that you're part of this project, or you can say that you witnessed it, which is also fun if you're traveling and you see something that you're not part of, but you learned from it and you want to share it with other people. And so first you choose an SDG, then you post a picture, and at the end, the app will tell you which Earth Charter principle that SDG is related to. And yes, I will be sharing these slides as well. Okay, so you post your own pictures, but like Instagram, Mapting is very similar to Instagram. You get to see what other people are posting. So I showed you some of my favorites in another slide, and this is how you see them here. So you go to the feed, and as I mentioned, you can search by country, you can search by SDG, you can search by Earth Charter principle, or you can search by a hashtag or a keyword. And another cool thing is that you can connect with other people. So if maybe you had no idea that someone in your town or in your city was also using Mapting, and you see what they're posting about, you can send them a message. Or if someone across the world is using Mapting and you want to learn more about their project, you can also send them a message. And you can like and support. A lot of people, as I mentioned, you have to unlock the Earth Charter principles and the SDGs. So when you first start, all of the SDGs are in gray, as you can see with SDG 2 and 6 on this image. But then as you post more and more, then you can fill up the entire wheel, which is fun for people to see if they can fill up their feed with actions that contribute to all of the SDGs. And you can also go to the map, because it's called Mapting. I didn't mention it at the beginning because it's mapping and acting. So you can also go to the map and just search by country that way, which is also fun. You can travel around the world on the app and see what people are doing in France or in Uganda. But we need more and more people to use them. But as you can see, people are already using it around the world. Okay, so I'm glad you like these slides. I'll be able to share them. They do have some cool animation. I'm very thankful for the person who created them. And they are for you to use as well. So we can upload them to the site. Okay, so now we can also talk about how you can use Mapting in your lessons. I have a quick question. Has anyone seen this video, which we already shared on the site about a presentation that we did for a UNESCO conference on education? Or maybe no one has seen it.
May I recommend you go ahead and show it?
Okay, great. Yes, I will just show one part. So at the beginning, you can see me explaining Mapting again, which I just did for all of you. And then we have, and then we invited a professor from a university in Florida in the United States to also present how she uses Mapting. And so I really like her intervention, which is the part I can show right now. And then after her intervention, to not make it too long, we had friends from an organization, an NGO, come and show how they're using Mapting. We know they're using Mapting because they were some of the first people to fill up their SDG wheel on the app, because they had so many examples of what they were doing here in Costa Rica. But first, I want to share with you all Carola's presentation of how she, as an educator, uses Mapting with her university students.
I would like to hear from your experience using Mapting, and why do you like to use it as well?
Wonderful. Will you be sharing the PowerPoint?
Okay, I can do it. So
okay,
one second.
Thank you. While you do that, I am a bilingual school psychologist, and I teach psychology courses for Miami-Dade College, the largest and most diverse college in the United States. Miami-Dade College has dedicated historically to supporting education for sustainable development. So this is not new for us. I feel very fortunate as a faculty member, thank you, to work in an environment where professors are allowed to explore, innovate, and it's part of our culture. So the title is Mapting, Reveal the Change Maker in Every Student. We know that every student is a change maker. We have seen it, we have experienced it. So I started using Mapting, first of all, because we know now that the future of education has arrived, that lecturing in the classroom is a thing of the past. And teachers and professors, we need to get with the digital technology. I do want to mention the sad component of the digital divide global-wide and even within the United States. But if we can use it, by all means, I am a #1 fan of Mapting, and I'm going to share why. I'm going to start with sharing just 1 minute. I would love for you to meet some of my students, which shows an example of immersion experiences that are provided by the Earth Ethics Institute. And it's right here at the bottom. Let's see if I can go ahead and, yeah, open that link. Just for 1 minute. Maybe, yeah, there.
Carola, I think we cannot see your screen because I am sharing, so I'll stop sharing. And do you want to share your screen to see your students?
Well, that's fine. We'll just move on. That's technology.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Yes. I'll just share this. An immersion course is where we take students. The college provides the funding to take students to learn about nature. We must help students, especially students who live in the cities, to connect with nature. How can we sell sustainability if students have not been exposed to nature, and many of them have not? So let's go to the next The presentation is about who, what, when, where, how, and some student reflections of how I have implemented Mapting, which I started implementing in 2019. I'm not able to move forward. Okay.
No. Yeah, I am presenting, so you need to tell me when to move forward.
Right.
Okay.
We'll navigate together. I would love for you to meet Emily. Emily just graduated, and in the change-making component of Miami-Dade College, we have created change-making student profiles. Emily attended one of my honors college classes where I have implemented Mapting. And this is a little bit about her. This is the end product, the end student, the transformation. Education is no longer about information, knowledge, change. It is about transformation, and it is about urgency of transformation. Emily's academic pathway is in the biological sciences. Her UN SDGs of interest were number 3, good health and well-being. Number 4, quality education. Number 5, gender equality. Number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. So you can tell that Emily knows her SDGs. She describes herself as futuristic, harmony, learner, and developer. We work mostly with youth, and part of these age group challenges is to define their identity. So when we educate for sustainable development, we're also helping students build their identities for now and for the future. I would like to share some of the words. I've had the opportunity to work on various volunteer and research projects, from human trafficking to food waste to education. Miami-Dade College is an institution that offers opportunities. And on change making, she says, change making is a personal process of discovering what you're passionate about and work to actively create change. Now, these are the students of the present, and these are the students of the future. This is what I work for, and these are my goals: to educate students who are like Emily. Emily's not alone. All our students are pretty much headed in this direction. Next, please. So I have implemented Mapting in only so far honors college. I teach honors college psychology courses in English, and I also teach honors college dual language program courses in Spanish. The honors college is a part of the Miami-Dade College where we recruit talented, bright students. It is teaching this group of students is like driving a Ferrari. I don't know what that feels like, but it's awesome. It's awesome. It's a gift to be to work with students at this level. These courses are designated as a global sustainability and earth literacy studies. I piloted 3 classes for a total of 53 students, and they posted 263 sustainable actions in those 3 classes in Mapting. So we see evidence, we have data. So let's go to the next slide. Psychology is a science, a social science, and psychology helps promote education in sustainable development. Mapting has enhanced course content, transforming content into applied psychology. Students want to know what's in it for me. What is the relationship between what we learn in the course to the real world out there? And Mapting is the real world out there. Mapting also supports the American Psychological Association's mission and the guidelines for the undergraduate psychology major. Next. Miami-Dade College, these are some of the structures that support faculty and students. Mapting and Education for Sustainable Development supports MDC's learning outcomes. It also supports the missions of the Earth Ethics Institute, the Institute for Civic Engagement and Democracy, and Impact, Change-Making, Social Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. Faculty are very fortunate to work for an institution that supports education for sustainable development. Next. Okay, I would like to recommend at this point an excellent publication from UNESCO entitled Education for Sustainable Development Goals, Learning Objectives, published in 2017. I added the link, but it is available in UNESCO's website. This is a how-to, a guideline to help professors, teachers all over the world to start teaching for sustainable education. I found the 3 domains, and Mapting and the projects that I create and develop for my students support the 3 domains, which are cognitive, social, emotional, and behavioral. And here on the left, you will see a posting of one of my students from the Spanish psychology class, Guillermo Sáez, Caminata y Recaudación de Fondos para apoyar a St. Jude Children's Hospital. These are students who influence each other in the Honors College to be involved in sustainable actions. And at the bottom, you see, as Amanda shared, how ECI posts related principles and SDGs. And they also have the opportunity, like social media, Instagram and Facebook, although youth are not in Facebook, that's for older people like me. And you also have the opportunity to write comments. Professors provide feedback, peers can provide feedback. And I would like you to pay attention to the affective state of the students. They don't look happy, do they? They look happy. And that's one of the perks of Mapting. So here on the right, you can read some of the benefits or supporting variables of the cognitive domain. If you want to be a cool professor, all you need to do is ask the students to take their cell phones out and to add an application. They're really wondering, how is it that a professor knows something about technology that they don't know? So they're very curious and very excited. It is new. It caters to students' short attention span. It is intuitive. I am not the most technologically savvy professor at Miami-Dade. So if I learned how to use Mapting on my own, believe me, any teacher, professor can use it. It eliminates lectures. Lectures are a thing of the past. The classroom is in Mapting. Mapting teaches students about the Earth Charter's principles and the SDGs on their own. They learn it and they help each other. Mapting also helps develop some cognitive skills like scientific reasoning, critical thinking skills, problem solving, creativity, etc. Moving right along, let's talk briefly about the social emotional domain. Please pay attention to our wonderful posting from, again, Guillermo Sáez. He's one of my Mapting champion. Mr. Science created an activity, an event to help at La Pequeña Habana, which is a lower income, mostly Hispanic residents. And he invited some of his classmates, my students, to help.
Carola,
yes.
We are up on time, so maybe you can wrap up.
Okay,
10
great.
minutes goes fast.
Oh, it does. Okay, so Mapting supports also, let's go to the next one. Behavioral domain, Mapting and my projects support ESD's behavioral domains. Let's go to the next one. And they also meet key competencies, which you can read on your own at another time. Let's go to the next one. When and where Mapting is a classroom. In order to teach sustainability, we need to go out there to nature. So use your campus grounds, immersion courses, and also communities, local, state, national, global. Next. This is one example of a project entitled Sustainable Development Actions Empowerment. And we don't have enough time to go over that, but Mapting is a way for students to demonstrate that they are learning. Let's go to the next one. They're also required to write a research paper and to separately write a reflection. I want to know how this Mapting and teaching ESD is affecting my students, how they're being transformed. So we have Alejandra Bolufé picking up trash around the campus lake, and also Karen Rodriguez, human rights presentation at Hialeah Senior High School, promoting students to teach in this, these rights to their friends and family from other countries. Next.
Thank you, Carola. I think we need to close now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, is there just maybe one sentence you want to say to finish?
Yes, Mapting has changed, has transformed how I teach, how I educate students. And if you empower professors and teachers to use Mapting, they can in turn empower students. So I am a Mapting believer. Thank you so much.
Okay, let me pause. Okay. So I didn't invite Carola to come join me today because she did a good job the first time. But she, as you saw, she's very passionate about using this app, and she's very passionate as an educator about sharing her experience. So if anyone wants to be put in contact with her, you can also let me know. And yes, so going back to the presentation, please do stop me at any point if you have questions. I hope that we do have some minutes at the end so that we can hear from all of you. So I just wanted to mention some of the things that you could do in your lessons. So you can, well, as you know, you can post an image based on a specific Earth Charter principle or an SDG. You can post images related to specific holidays. So for example, Education Day or Youth Day or whatever you're teaching about, the UN has a day for everything. So you can, if you have lessons around that, you have lessons around sustainable lifestyles, this really applies to that because it's about the individual. Ethical dilemmas. I teach an online course for youth at Earth Charter Internet. I co-facilitate, I don't teach, I'm not a teacher, but I co-facilitate a course for online course for youth, and we talk about ethical dilemmas a lot. And one of the assignments is that we ask participants in the course to look around in their community, see if there's an ethical dilemma and post about it, hopefully post about the solution as well. A specific project, as I mentioned, you can search by keyword. So if you give your class a hashtag, so for example, hashtag psychology 101, the name of your university, I don't know, you can be creative with the hashtag. You can ask the students to come up with the hashtag. That makes it a lot easier to find your students' posts. We have Mapting contests, as I mentioned. I want to share a winner from the last time. And so if you want your students to stay up to date on that, you can sign up for Earth Charter updates on our website. But basically we had, before the pandemic, one of the Earth Charter young leaders participated. She posted her picture of an ecology project in Costa Rica, helping sea turtles get to well, really learning from the sea turtles about their journey to the ocean. And she won this contest, and she was able to go to New York City for a UNESCO conference on youth. And the last winner we had is also an Earth Charter young leader who also posted about turtles. But anyway, she posted a painting that she did, and I really like the reflection that she shared as a winner. So this is one of her personal paintings. She's a very talented artist from the US and Japan. So I just want to share what she said. This is by Erica. Earth Medicine is a piece that I created this year in 2020, which was inspired by the lessons I learned from the online course I took at the Earth Charter on leadership, sustainability, and ethics. Understanding sustainability through the concept of systems thinking, leadership, ideology. This piece illustrates the connectedness of our action. It illustrates the importance of ecosystem-based adaptation, that looking into nature and appreciating what can be learned from nature is a way to respond to climate change. The animal represented is a turtle because they're one of the oldest symbols that represent the planet Earth and Mother Nature. Using the colors green, connect to the earth, and the forest, while blue represents the oceans. I truly believe that art can be a powerful voice to communicate and connect people across the globe and spread a message of hope, healing, empathy, and compassion. So there's really so much that students can learn from other people posting on Mapting, from artists using creative expressions. Your students don't have to be super talented artists like Erica to do a creative expression inspired by the lessons and the conversations you're having, basically to create something and then post it on Mapting, which could be a little less embarrassing than asking them to post it on their personal Instagram if they're not comfortable posting their art. But I think using Mapting would make them feel a little more comfortable posting any assignment that you're teaching. So I had an idea to do a brainstorming session, but because of time, we don't really have time for that. But basically the question was, what are some examples of actions that can be examples of transforming conscience into action without leaving anyone behind? So we don't have time to go into the Mentimeter, but we do have time to talk about them here. If you do want to think about it, or if you want to think about it throughout the day, or if you download Mapting for your own use, and start thinking about what are some good examples, you'll start seeing them everywhere. Ever since I started using Mapting, whenever I go to something, I'm very good about posting to my Instagram stories, but I also, those same pictures, I like to post on Mapting to share and to make those connections to the SDGs and the Earth Charter principles. I also wanted to share some additional resources. So we have an Earth Charter in Action publication, which has some really, really inspiring chapters around each of the Earth Charter principles. If you want to share them with your students, they're very short, so they can read them and then inspire them to see those actions, to identify those actions. We have the Earth Charter podcast that I would like to recommend to you. As educators, we have an entire season on education, and you can search for the podcast by going on Spotify or Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts. Just type in Earth Charter podcast, but I also gave you the link to our website because there you can see what each of the episodes is about. The Earth Stories collection is an amazing collection of traditional stories that have these values, these ethical values of planetary well-being and justice and ecology and ecological integrity. And so each story from around the world has a connection to an Earth Charter principle already on the website. And you can check it out on their website, or you can follow them on Instagram, because right now they're starting a new project where they're illustrating the stories and you can start reading them on Instagram. And these can also be really good inspiration for your students, maybe for those creative actions, for those creative expressions that then they can post on Mapting. And we also have Earth Charter courses that you can check out for yourself or for your students. We have the youth course, and where you can come and learn more about the work that we're doing. And as I mentioned at the beginning, there are 2 units on the ESD Innovate that you're part of on the Earth Charter if you want to know more. So there's one by Alicia Jimenez and one by Miriam Vilela from 2021. And as I mentioned, we have a youth course if your students are between the ages of 18 and 30. And the next one is starting in about a month. And for this course, we use Mapting a lot, and we use a lot of spaces for dialogue for young people to connect with people from around the world. Okay, so that is everything I have for now. And I wanted to leave some minutes at the end to see if anyone has any questions or if you want to share ideas. This is the time we have to do that. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to sharing these resources with you so that you can start using them as well if you're interested.
Amanda, thank you so much. I found your talk really exciting, and I have Mapting on my iPhone, but now I understand it even better. So I'm going to go out and begin to use it far more. Participants, may I please ask you to put your questions in the chat box, or to raise your hand by going to reactions on the bottom of your screen and then clicking on raise your hand. And that way we can call on you for discussion. But I would like to start the discussion by saying, I am a geographer, and so Mapting provides me a source of pictures from around the world, which is just wonderful. So if I'm called upon to talk about India or someplace in South Asia, I can go to Mapting and I can find photographs from that area, and taken primarily by students and youth, which I find really exciting because it connects students very differently with that place than a picture out of their textbook. So as a geographer, I'm excited about this. And I could tell from all the requests for your slides in the chat that people are eager to download this and begin to use it. So thank you so much for your presentation on this. Okay, any questions for Amanda?
Or ideas that you would like to share?
Okay, Stefan, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Amanda, for this great presentation. It's really bringing something to the global community that we in ESD Innovate want to do as well, bringing people together globally and giving them the opportunity to share their actions and so on. It's a great app. And yeah, I was very interested in knowing how this colleague from Miami, she's using it. But and I'm now the question that I have about the whole thing. I'm on the 19th of September starting my next semester, and I understand that she uses this app from the very beginning on. It's from the very beginning she uses it, and she sends out their students to collect those ideas, what actions have been taken in their neighborhood and so on. But then I thought about the next or the third session. How does she continue when those actions are posted? How this I didn't get in details. How you can continue on just after you have posted your actions or the other ones. What is the to deepen and to use the whole app more thoroughly or something like that?
Yeah, well, I can't answer that for Carola. I'm not very sure, but as we can tell, well, her presentation was rushed, but you can tell that she has really created some elaborate lesson plans. So as I mentioned, I can put you in contact with her. But my example from the youth course that I co-facilitate, we use it throughout the 10 weeks. So the youth course is 10 weeks, and it's during those 10 weeks, it's 7 weeks of lessons. So each lesson, each week has a different theme. So eco-literacy or leadership, the Earth Charter, ethical dilemmas. So we have a Mapting assignment throughout a different Mapting assignment throughout the different weeks. So 1 week, the post that we might ask them to post is on eco-literacy. And then, as I mentioned, we have an assignment on ethical dilemmas. So share an ethical dilemma. And then you can have a discussion in your classroom around those different actions that they are posting based on different themes. And as also there's different SDGs. So if you're talking about climate action 1 week, then the post will be very different from the post about gender equality, or they might be related, which is also interesting to see how is your post on climate action related to gender equality, you know.
So is it possible that you restrict the posts to the class that you're having, that you're looking just at those ones?
No, but that is why you can use the hashtags and the keywords. So for the hashtag, you would have to be very specific. You would have to ask your students, okay, post. So I'm a student at the University for Peace. I'm also a student right now. So we could say UP's EDP 22, you know, so you can be very specific about your hashtag, and that way you can find them, the post easily.
Great, thanks.
Yes, thank you for your question.
Okay, Sherry L. Wilson, you have a question?
I have a question, but also just a thought. I'm working on a curriculum focused on biocultural diversity, and it begins by introducing students to the SDGs. And so I'm really excited about this app because I think it could fit in really well with what I'm trying to do, the activities I'm trying to have them do within the curriculum. And so thank you for your presentation. And yeah, my brain is racing right now thinking about how I can fit this in with what I'm working on. And to follow up on Stefan, I am also interested in Carola's curriculum and her lesson plans. And I'm working with some universities in Ukraine, actually, their psychology departments. And we're trying to think about some new courses or new ways to, things to offer their students. And I think this could be a really empowering way for them to connect with the rest of the world and show some things that are happening there that are not just related to the war. And because there's a lot more to that country than just that. So yes, if you would allow us to connect with Carola, that would be really fantastic. What she showed on her slides were just enticing enough to get us all interested, I think. So thanks for all your great work on this. I think it's going to be a fantastic resource, and I will do my best to help get it out to more teachers so their kids can participate. Thanks.
All right, we have some really interesting comments here. Like Irene says, we need pedagogy to step in. And she says she's going to look at the app. Irene, would you like to expand on your comment that we need pedagogy to step in?
I only wanted to say that I agree with the Sari thing, that apart from the methodology, we need pedagogy. Apart from the tools we have in hand to use in our lessons and to our teachers, we need more ideas about how they will change the world pragmatically. That's the point. Apart from collecting pictures, which is fine, I think, like Instagram, apart from that, we need to deepen things. If I'm understood somehow, my English. I'm anxious. I'm Greek. I'm from Thessaloniki now. And I'm delighted to be here in your company. And I'm very much troubled. How can I say that? I care about our world. I care about environment and how to see things through these lenses.
Thank you, Irene. I really like your comment about linking this social media app with pedagogies in our classrooms. I teach with Lorna Down, and we have many conversations about transformative pedagogies that will get people to think about a topic in a fundamentally different way. And so I see Mapting as a tool that we weave into our pedagogies that will create that transformation. Lorna and I talk about creating a sustainability worldview in our students, in which this is a concept from Victor Nolet in his book of 2016. And he talks about people seeing and interacting with the world through a lens of sustainability. So I see Mapting as just this really huge complement to Victor's idea of creating a sustainability worldview. It's something very practical, like, okay, show me, you took this picture. Oh, and you've explained which sustainable development goal it links to. And then, you know, of course, they'd probably put some words around it for the class. So I see how this tool just really integrates nicely into some of those transformative pedagogies. Amanda?
Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you for your words.
So Amanda, do you have some examples of weaving this, you know, this wonderful social media app into some specific pedagogies?
Not specifically, but well, I mean, you can, because I'm not an educator, as you are, as you all are, but you could definitely talk about global citizenship. Yes, so many examples: sustainable lifestyles, climate action. There's just, I don't know, I think with the SDGs and the Earth Charter combined, the possibilities are really endless.
Thank you. And I think that that's a very good summary statement. We're out of time today. So Amanda, I would like to thank you so much for your presentation. We really enjoyed it. And I think many of us are going to download the app and begin to use it. So thank you for stimulating action on our part. So we are moving from consciousness to action, just like Earth Charter asks us to. So thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you all. I will email you and Ingrid right away with the links to the PowerPoints as well, and the videos.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amanda.
Bye
Thank
all.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
It was nice to see you all.
Thank you.
You too.